for the rest of the time a public pier. And that's why they do not organize a lot of activity and ferry on the Queen's Pier, because if suddenly the officials need to use it and a lot of people's travel, daily travel would be affected. So they use it as a pleasure boat here. Friends get together, go to a pleasure boat on here, and as an emergency pier most of the time. So, but nonetheless, it is a public pier where tourist boats and sightseeing boats all go to. So Queen's Pier was already there together with the old City Hall and the old seafront, right? On this old seafront. Now, before, City Hall is not very public in the sense that there were stories. Actually, Jihoden actually discovered some of these stories. A lot of the coolies who work at the piers carrying goods, right? When there is typhoon, big rain, they need somewhere to shelter. And sometimes they run into the museum of the City Hall when there's heavy rain. And the British people and the rich people do not welcome them, and they decided to charge 10 cents entrance fee. So these people, it means several meals, like food for more than one day, gone if you go into this place. So poor people were excluded from this place. And this is the Hong Kong Club, right? And the big piece of glass next to it is the Royal Cricket Club, where people roll those balls on the grass as a kind of recreational sport. And again, this place is only available to the colonial elite and a few selected Chinese rich people. Again, it is not a public space before people's resistance. Now, why did the colonial government reclaim this piece of land? Right? I told you, this whole piece of land was reclaimed. Imagine reclaiming a piece of land in the center of Central. A very important, expensive piece of land. Right? Now, the question is, why did the colonial government reclaim this land and decided to put on it 100% public space, civic space? Right? They built Queen's Pier, Ferry, City Hall, and Edinburgh Place, all of them open to the public. This is the first public car park in Hong Kong. The first public City Hall that you do not have to pay to go into. Right? In the City Hall, it's where you get your birth certificate and death certificate, the beginning and end of your life. There is a library where you start to study and grow up. And there is a marriage registry where you become adults. And then you die there, and you go to get your death certificate there. So the City Hall represents a link to the everyday life, the whole life cycle of the local people. And for the first time, you can go in there free. Why? So expensive a piece of land, so much money to reclaim it, and not build an IFC there, not sell it to land developers, but give it 100% to Hong Kong people. This is unusual, extremely unusual, and unheard of in the history of colonial Hong Kong. Now, these places are historically where huge public demonstrations happen. Before there was an MTR, if people want others to notice what they are talking about, right? They want to see most people in Hong Kong. Before the MTR, most people would come and go to work and to school between Hong Kong and Kowloon through the Ferry, right? So before there was the subway, the Ferry at Edinburgh Place, Queen's Pier area is one of the best places to demonstrate, to do a social movement, because there is the most flow of people before the MTR. And after we have the MTR, it's easier to get to Victoria Park, and also because it's bigger. And that's why gradually people move towards Victoria Park as a site of the huge public gatherings, right? But see, these two pieces of land, so important, so expensive, are yet given to the people as public space during the colonial era. And why is it now taken back from us to become privatized as the largest shopping mall in Hong Kong? That's a question to ask. So Mr. Ju is going to give you a more detailed history of how he rediscovered a people's resistance movement history on this public space. In 1966, Song Xiaozhong started a people's livelihood movement against the price hike of the Star Ferry. And from 1966 to 1968, we know that there is the anti-British colonial riots in Hong Kong. And after those 2 years of protests and riots, the government changed a lot of its policy to a more humane and localized sort of policy. So it started here. Right? The nationalist movement, Protect Yuhai movement, started here as a protest against Japanese colonialism, militarism, American imperialism, and when the colonial government cracks down against British colonial police violence. So nationalist democratic movement happened here as well. And also other dates that, let's see, holidays, so on. All these are rewards of social movements happening in this public space. So preserving Queen's Pier in where it is as a architectural cluster, as a historical site of the first important public space in Hong Kong, is the idea behind the movement. The Star Ferry, Queen's Pier, and Edinburgh Place is the only area in the entire Phase 3 Reclamation project that represents the history of people and of public space. And also, it is about preserving the integrity of the architectural cluster in terms of heritage policy. Because, see, this model was made by the architect himself. The whole area was designed together as a 4-in-1 public space cluster. And it is due to the pressure of people at that time. If you remember, 1949, China split into two, Communist China and Taiwan. A lot of refugees ran away from Communist China to Hong Kong. And together with the local poor, suddenly there's just not enough of everything. A lot of squatters and slums all over the city, squatter fires, tens of thousands of people lost their homes, become homeless, jobless, no school to go to, no health care. And suddenly people discovered that for 100 years, the colonial government of Hong Kong had not taken care of our education, have not provided health care, have not provided social welfare, and all was done by charity groups, church groups, and local consortiums like of charities like Dongwa Sanyu. The government did nothing. So at that time, there were leftist mobilization among the poor in Hong Kong. And the idea was, why don't we go back to China, and staying in a colonial city is so difficult. And at that time, Chairman Mao did not declare that he would give up the military takeover of Hong Kong yet. So at that time, if you go to Britain and read the declassified documents of government debates at that time, why did they reclaim this land and not sell it, but give it to the public? It was because of a lot of political pressure from the people against a colonial government that doesn't take care of its own people. So they don't dare to build a Queen's Pier that is too glamorous. And when they want to rebuild the government offices on Government Hill, they also do not dare to build it grand and glamorous because they would look like they waste the money of the colonized people to build glamorous buildings. So they built the most efficient, cost-efficient, low-key kind of modernist utilitarian building, which is our City Hall now, our Queen's Pier now, and our government central offices now. We're all built that way under the pressure of a very, very frustrated colonized